What's up, guys? My name is MadSquash924. Welcome back to another episode of Night Call Part 30, where we are a taxi driver trying to discover a murderer. In this case, it's the Sandman, and so let's get right back into it. Still getting over sickness, if you guys couldn't tell, but my voice is a bit better than it was previously, which is good. But if I talk for too long, my voice will start to ache, which is a big oopsie. But you're not here for that. You're here to listen to Miriam Bardot. Your next passenger has that overtired look worn by so many young Parisians. She collapses into the back seat and mumbles an address on the other side of the city. You start driving. You discreetly watch her in the rearview mirror. Her face looks familiar. Maybe she's famous. Maybe you've driven her before. After a few minutes, you decide she must be a babysitter. Young, not necessarily wealthy. An expression of utter boredom on her face. You often pick up this kind, especially in nice neighborhoods. You sense your passenger wants to talk about the killer. It's simple. Since the first murder, everyone thinks they know something. Everyone thinks they saw something. And this passenger is no exception. Having a good evening? She raises her head. Yeah. She falls silent again. The silence lasts a few seconds. On your window, Paris is just beginning to fall asleep. Occasionally, you catch her glancing discreetly at you. Like maybe she recognizes you too. Several minutes go by before she dares break the silence. May I ask you something? She leans forward slightly. You and I have already talked. You may not remember, but I was babysitting for an Iranian family and... She leaves her sentence hanging. No, sorry. Okay, I had a problem with one of my guy friends, and you got involved. You have no idea what she's talking about, but smile at her nonetheless. It's all the same situation anyway. These are new clients. Their son is totally weird. The word weird hangs suspended in the air for a few seconds. What do you mean, weird? He makes me feel really uncomfortable. He's disturbing. It's like I'm babysitting a future serial killer. You stare at her. Serial killer? Yeah? Yes. She freezes. Pumps not to laugh? You nod, and she starts to talk. This evening, I was watching TV with the volume way down. Suddenly, I hear something ring in the kitchen. I get off the couch and smell the super pungent stink of plastic. She wrinkles her nose like the stench had followed her all the way into the cab. I open the door, smoke comes out. It's black. Thick. And there in the microwave I find... She sighs. A toy. A cartoon action figure. It was all melted on a plate, but you can still make out its shape and color. So I go look in his bedroom. He's right there, lying still, eyes closed. He's asleep. She freezes. Or at least pretending to be. But it had to be him. She's shaking. Her expression begins to reflect the fallout from her surprise, her fear. Shit. It wasn't the first time? No, not at all. Sometimes he sets traps just outside the bathroom. Traps? She nods. When I come out, there are tacks on the floor, you know, thumbtacks. Oh. Yeah. She closes her eyes. The memory of the pain comes back to her, settles in. She moans slightly. Or once, I don't know how he did it, but I found a huge hairball in my coffee. She sinks into the back seat. Like the nasty kind you pull out of shower pipes, you know? You can easily picture that kind of hairball. I thought I was going to throw up. Most of the time, it's just his looks or words he mumbles. I read him a story. Every time I turn the page, he's like... She imitates what appears to be the boy's voice. Is the bunny going to die? Is he going to kill the turtle? What it feels like... What does it feel like when you... She stops the imitation. She stops the imitation, shaking with disgust. Crush a turtle with your foot? She shakes her head. Kids just don't talk like that. You talk to his parents? She stares at you. You know their son is different. She shuts her eyes. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but you're not far from your destination. But he's not normal. There's something twisted about him, something wicked. You know, I've been babysitting since I was 13. This is the first time I've seen anything like this. Kids are all good. Sometimes are difficult, temperamental, violent even. But they're not rotten. She turns her head away when you pull up to her place. A minute goes by. You avoid her gaze. She avoids yours. She pays and just before opening the door says, "You have kids?" You lie. No. Have you ever seen that kind of behavior, that kind of evil? Your story reminds me of my big brother. There was something strange about him. Something dark? You hesitate a second. Perhaps I don't know. I never really knew how to put words to it. What became of him? He died. She lowers her eyes. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's in the past. That last little lie lingers on the tip of your tongue. Thank you. You're sorry to have to brought it up, but your throat is tight, your eyes burn. Her smile hangs in the air. 1 minute later, your passenger is in the lobby of her building. You almost forgot about her, as your thoughts were so focused on your brother. Something tickles you. A breeze, maybe? You start driving so you don't have to think about it. Okay. I mean, we know what happened to him. So, let's see here. I don't recognize you, I don't think. I definitely don't recognize you. I know you, and you for sure. Have we picked him up before? I want to see. Just taking a brief look. Sorry, I had a sneeze too. Doesn't look like we've seen him before, so we'll go pick him up. Actually, maybe we pick up fuel, since we're at the gas station. We shouldn't need a ton of fuel, theoretically, but... Good, he's still there. I was wondering if he'd leave. Is anybody else around that is more interesting? No? Okay. Let's go pick him up. You look up an office tower, somewhere high up. There's still a light on, a shadow at work. Jean-Noël Ranier. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a long drive. A passenger waves to you from the sidewalk, unsteady on his feet, one hand in the air, the other cupped to his mouth to get your attention. This one has been drinking. He gets in out of breath, and you start driving. I thought I was going to have to walk. Thanks for stopping. And no problem. You have a nice evening? He takes a minute to catch his breath. Crazy, 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 crazy. He leans forward, his face close to yours. His breath reeks of vodka, making your head spin. There's another smell coming off of him. Cologne? It's crazy. One day you just realize you're useless. Just same old, you know? And then bam! You get a yes. Your seatbelt? Shit, yeah, sorry. He settles back into his seat. From Sonia. Her name is Sonia. It was our third date. His eyes roll back in his head, and a huge grin spreads across his face. I've felt like this in ages. As he speaks, he pulls the hair off the top of his head. It's a toupee, which he lays down on the seat next to him. As he runs his hand over his bald head, he looks as if he's never been happier or felt freer. She teaches philosophy at my high school. I usually don't speak to her type, all liberal freaks. But I don't know, man. She had this strict way of walking, you know, a serious look about her. She invited me for a coffee at the end of the school day, and I had a ton of papers to grade, but I said yes. Best decision of my life. My whole life. His eyelids droop, and his voice becomes flatter. We went to the movies on our second date. It was Ken Loach, another liberal freak, but she was really disappointed by it, almost angry. I knew she was the one when we decided to get one more drink. She grabbed my hand, giving me that look like she wanted more, and I didn't know what to do with myself. He yawns, about to fall asleep. I can't let my seniors find out. You let him doze off. When you arrive at your destination, he is sound asleep. You turn off the motor. You turn the motor off. The car fills with silence. Ooh. Can we do that? Why not? Like Paris, at this time of night, on the third floor of the apartment building, someone is watching TV. Flashes of color dance in the street, reflected in the window. The metal shutters, the street lamps. Your passenger awakes with a start. His first words come out of a swallow, half-eaten and unintelligible. Sorry, I must have dozed off. He glances at the meter, digs in his pocket, and pulls out a handful of bills. You watch as he staggers down the street. A long minute later, he disappears into his building. Hell yeah. That's some money. That's how we make the money. It's like the first scummy thing we've done as a taxi driver. Have we seen everybody else that's here? I recognize all four of them. I don't recognize you. Let's pick her up. Wow, this is just an ass-backwards way of getting there, but whatever. A familiar smell tickles your nose. Oh, it's him. You turn around just in time to see a little ghost appear on the back seat of your taxi. He remains still as he watches you. My friend, hurry up. We have a lot to see this evening. The little ghost throws you a quizzical look. You feel your hair stand on end. You start driving. Would you be so kind as to drive around this neighborhood a bit? No specific destination? No, I'm not quite sure where he lives these days. He changes haunts frequently. Never stays in the same place for long. But it's somewhere around here. The boy points outside. Over there. The revolutionaries brought the little prince here on a cart. Over there. The crowd touched him, pushed him, made him change clothes. Over there, a woman he's never seen before, and who frightened him, gave him something to eat. He was scared, of course, terrified. People spit insults any time he opened his mouth. Others incited violence. His last sentence hangs in the air. Everything okay? Fine, thanks. I was thinking about his mother, but it's of no matter. No matter at all. She had face powder ordered from Austria. Her little ones liked the smell. As do you. At that very instant, your nose itches. Let's no longer speak of it. He was the important one. Your desire to sneeze disappears as quickly as it had appeared. He lived in this street and suffered a great deal. He often coughed and was yelled at any time. His small, frail body was shaken with a coughing fit. The woman taking care of him called him Little Louis. He barely spoke. He was not allowed to go outside. An odd smell fills the cab. His life was reduced to a series of apartments, bedrooms, living rooms. More of a perfume than a smell. His life was reduced to presentations, low bows, and strict rules that came out of nowhere. Orange blossom. Your taxi suddenly smells of orange blossom. His life was reduced to future promises, to when you grow ups, and you glance around, needlessly looking for the source of the smell. I at least got to play in the dirt and the mud. It's him. The little boy with a flickering frame smells of orange blossoms. I don't pity him, but no one deserves to be punished for their brother's crimes. What did you just say? You stare at the little boy. I said, no one deserves to be punished for their brother's crimes. And you know exactly what I mean. He smirks. Right here. He points to a house down the street. Stop, it's right here. This is where Louis 17 lives. You pull over. Louis 17 lives here? Why the fuck should I care? You turn around and the back seat is empty. You sneeze. All the anger you were just feeling has vanished. You avoid your own reflection in the rearview mirror. Yeah, he does that. Ludwig is a crazy guy. Alright, who's next? Oddly enough, I actually recognize every one of these faces. We've actually met every one of these people. So I'm going to actually meet with this guy. The judge from the first scenario. Let's see what he's like this time around. And he was a retired cop, if you guys remember. Your next passenger is clearly a policeman. You can tell from his poise. A bit weary with a touch of superiority. Up at those St. Louis, please. You nod your head and start the engine. After a few minutes of silence, your passenger starts humming a tune you do not recognize. He stops, hesitates, looking over at you after all. I can't seem to get it out of my head. Crazy. I can't remember where I heard it. He pauses. Oh, wait. Yeah. I remember now. You can hear a slight Caribbean accent in the last word. It hangs in the air for a second. Not far from here, actually. It must have been about 11 in the morning. The guy knew I didn't go home, so they called me at the bistro downstairs where I was having myself a glass of white wine. You know, they found 2 bodies in a fancy Parisian luxury hotel. Took me a few minutes to get there. Fancy molding, gold plating, fur smelled like orchids. The tune that stuck in my head, that's why I heard it. Someone in the lobby was playing the piano. What a story. He sighs. I climbed the stairs, 3rd floor, crimson carpet all the way down the hall, thick wallpaper on the walls. Room 337. The hotel manager was standing there frozen, sick to his stomach. That's when you know they're innocent, when they're afraid they look guilty. They start talking, saying stupid things like murderer and serial killer, but I stopped listening as soon as I saw the bodies. King-size bed, thick comforter, white sheets, huge piles of pillows on the ground. He pauses a moment. I never understood why hotels put so many pillows on the beds. You know why? Because it's classy? Weird idea anyway, just another thing come over from America. He sniffles. It takes a second to gather his thoughts before getting back to his story. Anyway, 2 bodies. A man and a woman, about 60 to 65 years old. Their arms around each other. A few spots of blood on the man's pillow. That's what got the manager's attention. He wouldn't leave me alone, a real motor mouth. I told him not to touch anything and to shut up. 2 flutes on the coffee table, and an empty bottle of champagne in a bucket of ice water. Next to the window, a tray, a small jar of caviar, some lukewarm cream, and a few blinis. I turned toward the manager and said, double suicide. I brought him into the bathroom, showed him the bathtub. There was a dried foam on the edge, and there were some streaks in the water on the floor. A double suicide, I said again. In a couple hours, we'll get a call from their kids or grandkids. They'll have gotten a letter in the mail. One of them, or maybe both, had cancer or some incurable disease. Or they were just done living, done with this world, with everyone. They threw their savings into a luxury room, ordered room service, and at midnight they downed some barbiturates with a bottle of champagne, then went to sleep. He pauses. And the blood? The blood? Ah, I see you are paying attention. Nothing much to it. A man shaved before going to bed and cut himself. He smiles. I told the manager what I was thinking. What better way to advertise your hotel? The perfect place to die. Told him he should take an ad out. You pull in front of the hospital. In back, the policeman is whistling the tune stuck in his head. He pays you. Sometimes I think about doing the same thing. Getting a room, packing myself in. But then I think about all the paperwork a dead body would make for the police. He smiles at the thought. Have a good day. He gets out of the taxi and enters the hospital. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind. Or the one before. You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. I don't know if that was what he said from before when we met him initially. I don't recall. Okay, who's next? Technically, I think this is the only one that's new, so we'll go and see this young lass. Everybody else we've met before. Amira Fagul. Park a few streets away from Bercy and wait for your next passenger. From where you're sitting, you can hear the loud beat of electronic music even with your windows closed. The whole neighborhood is pulsing to the exhausting binary beat. Bercy is a big venue. They do all sorts of events, music, sports, even political events sometimes. The door opens, and here's your passenger. Good evening. Rue de l'Aragon, please. Icy cold voice. Rigid posture. You start driving. You drive past Bercy. The music gets even louder. Your passenger crouches down and back like she doesn't want to be recognized. Everything okay? I just want to get home as quickly as possible. Her voice is like a drifting iceberg. You nod and press on the accelerator. Bercy gets farther and farther away in your rearview mirror. I screwed up. I totally screwed up. After over 3 years of training, I burned thousands of euros in... She pinches her eyes closed. No, I made the right choice. I did what I had to. Actually, I had no other choice. You realize there's been a repetitive noise since you started driving. Your passenger's phone has been vibrating every 4 seconds. You're getting an awful lot of messages. Yeah. I suppose people are saying I'm a bitch. I'm sure there are a few supportive tweets, probably journalists who want to interview me. Can I help you? No, I don't think so. A smile, sad eyes, her voice is suddenly calm. Yeah, it's just that, I refused. No, that's not where the story starts. She takes a deep breath. I refused 500,000 euros, but that's not the important part. I am an esports champion. She could tell you you're going to ask what that is, so she keeps going without a pause. I'm paid to play a video game. The game I play, Battle of Lost Legend, is a sort of chess game with 16 players at once. It's pretty epic to watch. You've never been a big sports fan, so when it comes to video games... I bet. Anyway, I'm French champion, European champion. Tonight was the World Cup, and I won. There were 17,000 people in the room, footage being broadcast throughout the world. When we were about to go on stage, I had to talk about what was happening in China. Silence. And what is happening in China? They're locking Muslims up in labor camps. That's what's happening. China is immense. There are dozens of different peoples and cultures. One of them is Muslim Chinese people. Yeah, I know, it seems weird. Uyghurs. Ever heard of them? You shake your head. And the problem is that the Battle of Lost Legend is bankrolled by a Chinese company. At first it was a French series and they got bought and now it all belongs to a Chinese company. The championship, the sponsors, the marketing, the 500,000 euros. Now it's all... She searches for a word she can't find. Tainted. Yes, that's it, tainted. Soiled. Several different emotions wash over her face. Or maybe it's just the shadow and light from the street lamps. I couldn't take the money. There's a break in her telephone vibrations. She catches her breath, closes her eyes. Outside, everything is getting blurry. The city seems to be disappearing, swept away by the emotions overwhelming your passenger. I couldn't take it. I'm a Muslim and... no, that's not even it. I simply can't accept the situation. Just like I couldn't accept the terrorist attack, so I took the streets. I protested. I can't just do things halfway. I can't be outraged without doing something about it. So I went on stage, I grabbed the mic, thanked the team, my coach, my parents, and I said what I just said to you. It was probably a bit confused, probably a bit awkward. Her phone starts vibrating again. All I remember is saying Uyghur, and I'm not sure about the rest. They tried to stop me, tore the mic out of my hands. I got off the stage and the room was dead silent. They screamed at me, someone shook me. They'll take my money away, my win too, probably. We'll give it to someone else. I don't know. And I don't really give a shit. Rue del Agon. An all-night grocery bathes the street in bright light. Two men are sitting smoking in front of the fruit and vegetable stand in the freezing cold. Your passenger hands you enough for the fare. Her fingers are shaking. Thank you. No reaction on her part. When she gets out, she stops a second, like she was waiting for something from you. You did the right thing. Your passenger faces pinches, twists, and stretches. You can almost feel the anger seeping out of her body. The right thing? What do you know about it? 10 minutes ago, you didn't even know who Uyghurs were. So shut your damn mouth. She gets out, slams the door. The men from the grocery sit up and watch the scene. You drive away almost immediately, as if to cleanse your body and mind of shame. Whatever. Her loss. Alright. Now, let's see. Actually, looks like this is pretty much a good spot for us to end today's episode of Night's Call. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's episode. If you guys have, make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of today's episode, of course. If you're new to my channel or have been watching me for a little while and you haven't done so, feel free to subscribe to me, MadSquash924, and don't forget to ring the bell to get notified of my latest videos. On the next episode, we're going to be ending this day, finding out the evidence, and I believe we actually get to find out who the big killer is. I think, because today's night 6, so I think Bus is going to tell us about it next time. And if that's true, that means the next episode will probably be our final episode. And it'll be one big long episode to try to figure out who the Sandman is. And I hope I'll see you guys there. Goodbye, everybody.